Peace and love. Let's do a soulmate reading for Valentine's Day, or just whenever you come across this reading. So we'll be using the Dreaming Way Lenormand cards today and the True Love Oracle by Belinda Grace. And let's see, we'll pull one side. We already have our heart card out for our Lenormand heart card. So this reading is about matters of the heart. We're going to pull one side for the feminine energy and one for the masculine. I hope you all are doing well. Let's get started. And I have my tea, so I might get a sip from time to time. All right, Spirit, thank you. Thank you, Most High, for another day of life. Thank you, angels, for your protection. Thank you, ancestors, for your strength, for your courage. What messages do you have for us? Love messages. Soulmate reading. I mean, we truly understand that the true soulmate is between one and the self, right? Loving ourselves properly. When we're able to love ourselves properly, we can come into union with others, or we come into our proper union with others. All right, so let's see what's going on here. We'll pull one card for the masculine side, and then we'll pull one for feminine energy. All right, Spirit, and this is it's just energy, energetic, masculine, feminine, whichever way you fall. All right, Spirit, one card for the masculine energy today. Thank you. When it comes to matters of the heart, wanting to come into union with one another. Maybe you haven't met, maybe you have met. But what are we working on, Spirit? What are we working on at this time? All right. So serendipity. We'll put this over here. All right. Feminine energy, Spirit. What are we working on at this time to bring us into union with our spiritual partner? This is a spiritual reading, guys. Thank you. All right. All right, so the sacred woman. Put that right in the middle, down here. And on the bottom, we have resolving conflict. So this is the underlining energy between both the masculine and feminine. All right, so we'll put that there as well. Let's see what we have. All right, Spirit, same masculine energy. What messages do you have? We'll just pull 4 cards to see. Right. So maybe some difficulty here with the snake card. All right, cutting those things away, moving away or trying to cut away difficulties in their lives. That's beautiful energy. Moving towards more peace, more peaceful communication. All right, feminine energy. Let's see where we are. So we have the child also, maybe not cutting away, but wanting a new beginning, a fresh start. All right, building a new foundation here with the home. All right. And then on the bottom, we have mice. So that kind of goes along here with the resolving conflict card. Underneath it, we have boundaries. So let's pull this one as well. We have a few messages here. So resolving conflict here could have been financial challenges, but the mice doesn't have to always be financial. It could just be anything that pulls away from you energetically. So in the wrong environment, dealing with the wrong people, in any way that may seem. But this is a love reading, so not being with the right partners, the partners that love us the way we should be loving ourselves, really. And then also partners that we can't show our true selves to. That's extremely damaging. So learning those correct boundaries, right? If we're loving ourselves properly, That we're not allowing people into our lives that harm us, that hurt us. We are able to discern those type of connections, and we're able to do what's best for ourselves to walk away from them. Sometimes you can walk away from people and still love them, but you love yourself more, right? And so you wish them the best as you move forward in your life. Moving towards your life purpose. For some, and for most of us, coming into union with the self is going to always be the life purpose. Some people do not come into union with other people, right? So the union is going to always be between you, the self, and the most high energies or the spiritual energies. But for some, coming into union with another partner, a spiritual helpmate, where you both are able to complete your mission in your work on this planet, because we have life purpose here, right? So anytime you come into union or you come into a romantic relationship with someone, it should always work towards your life purpose. If you end up in a connection where you're confused about who you are, you're confused about your path forward, this person doesn't give you any insights, or you're not able to gather insights on your own because of heavy energies dealing with that connection, it means that you might be um, dealing with this energy where you might need to decide, is this the right thing for me? We have the divine masculine energy here also. So this is a reading here with resolving conflict. The masculine energy coming into them and coming into themselves, feeling confident about who they are. All right, so let's take a look and see what we have here. So we've already talked about this here with the snake and the scythe. That's the idea of cutting away difficult connections with people, with circumstances, with environments, right? Swiftly doing those things. This is the King of Swords energy. The snake, and many times, is a trickster energy to me, along with the fox. The snake can also represent a woman or a feminine energy in the Lenormand deck that might not have the best intentions heart. But we're not going to even look at it like that, right? We don't want to put it like that. Let's just say that cutting away something in life, in their life, that tends to be on the negative side. Looking for something beautiful here with the serendipity energy. This is the idea of believing that something wonderful can happen in your life. Believing in magic. Believing in things that you might not be able to see, right? Um, Moving away from restrictions of the past where you were bogged down by the thoughts and ideas and the agendas of others, and opening your mind up to something that can be beyond your wildest dreams with serendipity, opening yourself up to new connections, things that you might not expect, partnerships that are different from your normal idea of who you would be with, right? Because we're talking about a spiritual union. So a spiritual union has no specific boundary, right? It has no specific look, but it does have a specific feel, right? It's something that you should feel. But the idea is that coming out this energy of conflict where there's hurt and pain, healing the heart, learning to be more compassionate with the self, learning to understand who you are so that you can move into a greater future and a greater you can be whole, right? Working towards that wholeness. Um it's almost like a childlike energy with the serendipity, right? Coming out of this heaviness into a lightness of being here. The snake card also represents spiritual transformation for me as well. And so cutting away the difficulties automatically puts you in a space where you're moving towards a spiritual transformation, a transformation of the self, healing of the self, loving who you are. All right. To be able to walk away from a situation is putting yourself first and saying, I love who I am and I want to explore myself more. I want to explore what I have to offer the world, but also what I have to offer on the day to day when it comes to me, you know, just communicating with me. Who am I? That type of energy. The masculine energy also wants more peace, peaceful communications. And so this could have been something in the past dealing with people who maybe could have been harsh communicators, could have been liars, because a snake is a liar, can be a liar. Cutting, people who have cutting communications, want hurtful, want to get straight to harming the spirit, things like that. So people who put themselves first when it comes to how they communicate, and they like to cut people down. So dealing with those energies, and when you deal with those energies for so much time, year after year after year, it's difficult on the spirit, but also it harms the self-worth. You start to believe that you're not worthy of something that's beautiful here because we have the compassion, empathy, and understanding. You start to believe that these moments of serendipity aren't things that are there for you, right? You don't trust in those things anymore. Those are for other people. They aren't for me. When you're in connections like this with a snake and a scythe, people who want to cut you down, who want to hurt you with lies and deceit. Also, this is the energy of doing this. This could be doing this to yourself as well. Cutting yourself down with lies and deceit. Talking harshly to yourself, right? Transforming how you see yourself. Transforming the idea of what you deserve. That's all here with this reading. Being peaceful in how you communicate with yourself. Wanting peace in your life, believing that that it's meant for you. And understanding the beauty that comes along with peace. We don't always have to have these highly charged relationships to know that we're in love or to feel that we're in love. Because if we're loving ourselves and we are at peace with who we are, then when we come into union with someone else, that love doesn't have to be, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Aggressive, right? So trusting a love that comes in a peaceful fashion, the beauty of that, peaceful communication with each other, where you're able to be balanced, right? Let's get one more here, and then we'll look at the feminine energy. Oops. Missed a couple of cards. So with the masculine energy, it's all about the belief here. Believing in themselves, believing that beautiful things can happen, believing that they deserve a love that's not only powerful, but allows them to think clearly, allows them to be at one with who they are and not giving all of themselves to someone else and their own ideas about what the union should be or about what that masculine energy should be. Being themselves here with the man card here. It's just the energy. Being able to stand up in their own light, being able to communicate with confidence and not be afraid or not be nervous that something is going to be cut down or that the energy is going to be too aggressive to even to share parts of themselves with, keeping themselves hidden away, right? Moving away from harshness with the whips, people who want to argue all the time, not wanting to enjoy the lightness of life with the lily and the birds, the joy of just communicating in a kind manner, right? This is peacefulness to me. This is also passion. It's not the type of passion that comes with the whip, but it's still a passionate energy here with the lily. It's a maturity that comes along with the lily. All right, it's a sexual energy, but it's also a mature, peaceful energy that comes along with two people who know who they are, right? Loving themselves on the inside, at least working to get there if they're not fully there, and working to love each other, while learning to love yourself. That's there as well. But even with that, it brings out the ultimate form of the whip form in a positive manner with the passion energy. All right? Wanting to be near each other, wanting to be intimate not only physically, but intimate when it comes to the mind, right? When it comes to spiritual partnerships, that intimacy of the mind is really more important than the physical intimacy. Of course, you need them both. But, to get to that true physical intimacy, there has to be a level of vulnerability that really can't come in this energy when your heart isn't healed. All right, so let's look at the feminine energy here. So we have the sacred woman. And so that's what's happening. Both masculine and feminine moving on the spiritual journey, honoring the divine feminine energy, walking strongly in your purpose, knowing who you are, loving who you are, right? Working towards building a new firm foundation. The house deals with the foundation, the house itself, the physical house, but it also deals with the soul, the spirit, right? Trusting your spirit, trusting your journey here with the child in the house. One thing a child is going to have is going to have trust. It's going to have trust in the world around them. Sometimes that's a good thing and sometimes it's a bad thing. You have to know. They might not know, but you're an adult, so you do know, right? But trusting your spirit, trusting your purpose, trusting where your spirit has led you to be here with the sacred woman energy. Allowing yourself to be led, because we have the rider moving towards the moon. The rider is beautiful messages coming in with spirit, because we have the sacred woman. The sacred woman is a spiritual card. This is a woman who's moving towards ascension. She's on a higher purpose in her life, right? Of course, she wants to be in love. That's important for her. But she also wants to be in love with spirit. She wants to be in love with the spiritual calling, right? So any man or any masculine energy that comes into the life of this energy here, they have to be powerful in themselves in order to even approach a character like this, an energy like this. They're not easily approachable. A lot of times women who are fiercely in their sacred woman energy, they can be alone. Not alone as in without spirit or without their spirit guides, but they can be without a partner, right? Because sometimes this energy is powerful but also intimidating. But working towards loving yourself, knowing who you are, walking in your purpose, kind of similar in a way, right? But this is somebody who's already on the path, already working, already doing whatever work that's required of them to do on this planet, knowing who they are, understanding their blueprint here. Beautiful messages coming in, like I said, but also this horse or the rider is moving towards the moon. The moon deals with our intuition, but the moon also deals with success. So moving towards an ultimate form of success in your life on something that you've created, something that you've worked for. This is also feminine energy, embodying that energy at the highest form, the highest level, being a sacred woman as you move towards this moon card. Also, moving towards a greater intimacy with yourself. All right, because the moon also deals with romance to me and intimacy. So, being comfortable with who you are, being comfortable with how you love, being comfortable with all the parts of yourself, loving your body, loving your spirit, your mind, all those things, moving towards a greater intimacy with who you are, so that when you come into union with this person, you're able to express yourself without being hindered, right? Let's see what else. Tell me more about the feminine energy here, and then we'll pull a card for both. We'll pull a couple cards, actually. All right, so we have the dog. So, and the dog is the abundance. So, one thing I'm going to say, when these two people come together, it's going to be a friendship. All right, it's going to be a friendship. It's going to be a understanding. It's going to be a knowing, right? It's going to be peacefulness in this connection. So that's one thing that I see here. But there's also a loyalty between these two people. But before we get to the loyalty between the two people that will be there, because we have the dog, this is also talking about loyalty to the self, right? Resolving conflicts from the past, healing the heart, coming into union with yourself first, right? Before you even touch base with this relationship. The same thing with the loyalty here. Being in union with your spiritual purpose. Both of these people are working towards their purposes, right? But this person here, the sacred woman, this energy is already there, already in the throes of working passionately, spirit guide, spirit led work, right? Spirit is saying be loyal to that. That is where the abundance lies. So the whole hope is that both of these energies would meet each other in a state of abundance, right? And understanding too that abundance is not money. I mean, of course it can be, but abundance truly is being who you are. Abundance is walking in your truth. Abundance is being able to step out in the world as yourself, without a costume, without anybody else's ideas. Only you, owning yourself, right? Let's get 3 of these for the masculine energy. Thank you, Spirit. Let's get 3. Thank you, angels. And then we'll pull one last card for self-care guide. So we have patience, discernment, and perseverance. So patience and perseverance are kind of similar. We have release on the bottom with the peach selenite. And so the idea of this person resolving conflicts from the past, moving towards having boundaries up, right? Knowing how to discern what's right. We have discernment out here, what's right for them as they move towards their life purpose here, walking in their divine masculine energy, if you can't see that. That's the whole key here. So learning how to release things from the past, being confident in that, being bold and saying, wait a minute, I need to do what's best for me. I need to do what's best for my spirit. All right, so that I can walk in my power. All right, being authentic with who you are. This is what we're talking about for the masculine energy. But knowing that things have taken time. We have the serendipity energy, so the idea that maybe this person hasn't dealt with things that have been beautiful in a while, things that have been spontaneous, things that have been surprising. They haven't been surprised in many years. And so it's taken patience to get here. Maybe to the point where the belief wasn't even there. We've already talked about that. That these energies didn't even exist for them. But they've been patient and steadfast, right? The perseverance will lead them to ultimately walk into a union that they never thought would happen for them. Let's look at the feminine energy here and see where we are. And so I'm looking at this reading closely. This is for whoever comes across it. But it's also for me too. I'm single. So looking at this reading or listening to it. Seeing what Spirit has in store for us or the guidance here. All right. So let's see here for the feminine energy. What's going on? Freedom. Trust. And self-sufficiency. So there's a transformation happening. You have to believe it. We have the rider moving towards the moon energy. The success is there. If you don't see it, the success is there. The work that you're doing on the spirit in the spiritual realm, the work that you're doing, your purpose, it's working. All right. Spirit is saying what you're doing is important. What you're doing is working. You don't see the physical manifestations of it. The physical manifestations, but the spiritual manifestations are there. All right. The energetic manifestations are there. The transformation is happening. We talked about the house here, a firm foundation, trusting your foundation. All right, a new foundation with the child in the house. But the foundation is important for your security. All right, being secure in your purpose and walking strong with the sacred woman, with the work that you're doing here. Being content with what you have at this moment. For those of us who are single, this is a journey here. This energy of resolving conflict. It's not just the masculine, it's both. But the masculine energy is working through some things where they're coming out of a difficult circumstance here where they've dealt with, and this could have already transformed on this side, where you've moved out of this energy, all right, because we have freedom here. So you've moved out of this energy and you're focusing on your foundation. This is not there yet. They're getting there, all right? So you have to trust in it. You have to be content with where you are at this particular moment. What are we doing here? Moving towards freedom. Freedom of the self. Freedom to do this work. Freedom to do this work without judgment. Freedom to do this work without judgment of who you are, but also not judging yourself. Being confident with walking your walk and talking your talk, right? Trusting in your vision for yourself. Working towards self-sufficiency. All right? We saw foundation security here. Spirit is saying that you have to be self-sufficient. And so that's something that's important to note. If you are doing something that's not the spiritual work, the foundation isn't going to be what it needs to be. The spiritual work needs to be the foundation. The spiritual work needs to bring about the self-sufficiency in whatever way that means or that looks for you. Let's do one of these for both energies. This is the Essential Oil Oracle cards. I love to do this do these for self-help, self-care messages. So we'll pull one for the masculine energy. All right, so the masculine, give us a card for just a self-care message as we close this reading out. A self-care message as we close this reading out. And we'll pull one for both. All right. So it says faith. So we have the serendipity card. We have patience. We have perseverance. And it says the trigger statement. So this is the shadow element of it all. Why does this always happen to me? All right. So we saw how this person might be in connections or dealing with people who don't mind harming them. And this person got to a point where they were used to it. They thought it was okay. And so we have those boundaries here. Don't forget, it affects how you look at yourself, how you see yourself, but it also harms the spirit. All right. It harms the spiritual body. And so the true statement is, I am at peace. We saw this here with the lilies and the birds. This person wanting to have a peaceful life. For some people, that's, they might say, oh, that's not exciting, but for the majority of us, me being one of them, being at peace is a blessing. We understand the world right now, wherever you might live if you're watching this video. But in the United States right now, all the turmoil that's happening, all the hatred that's out there, the anger that's out there, to be at peace is to be a blessing in a world that's like, full of ruckus and chaos. And on the bottom it says, know that everything will work out as it needs to, and hold a space of gratitude as you watch the miracles unfold. These are the miracles here that this person didn't believe in, right? But Spirit is saying that they're coming in. Let's look at the feminine energy, expansion. So this person is going beyond what they could have even dreamed for themselves. I love myself is a true statement. The trigger statement for this one is, I am not enough. So imagine that. Being in a situation, harming yourself because you're dealing with the wrong people that belittled you and made you feel like you weren't anything, right? Spirit is saying to love yourself. Your tender heart is in need of care. Know that your body is here to help you experience a miraculous life. Embrace it, the miracles that come along with this. But honoring the heart, nurturing and healing the heart. All right, so the sacred woman energy. The sacred woman energy. Where are we, Spirit? The divine feminine. A self-care message. Thank you, angels. Insight. All right, and so we have Clary Sage. This one was Spikenard. So it says the shadow element. There is no hope. All right. Not believing in your purpose, not believing that things are moving forward, not believing in a transformation. The true statement is there is a higher purpose, and that's what you're here to serve. Connect to your higher self and allow to be guided to your higher purpose. As the veil of illusion falls away, you will find your answer. So trusting your instinct, trusting your spirit guides, trusting your intuition, moving fully into your purpose, not denying yourself. On the bottom for the feminine energy, we have motivation. I don't know where to start. Trigger statement. So that's the shadow element, not knowing where to start. Well, first of all, you start with who you are. You start with loving yourself, and you start with speaking your truth. That's how you start. In the true statement, I take action now. So you take action on the sacred woman energy, which is divine feminine energy, which is being intimate with who you are. That's self-intimacy, right? Because that's also here for this feminine energy. You have to be vulnerable with yourself in order to open up fully with someone else. So it says you will find clarity and the ability to create now. This is your time to make things happen. So moving towards that firm foundation when, not tomorrow, but right now. Trusting in yourself right now. Let's pull one of these and we'll be done on both together. Give me one on the union. Give me one card on the union as we close out this reading. Thank you, Spirit. I'll take this one and flip one out. It says the gardener. And so this is the right now energy. What does a gardener mean? You understand what this means. It means you have to tend to your spirit. Before you can tend to somebody else's spirit, and this is my message too, I do these messages, these readings for you all, for those who come across it. But I take great healing from these things as well. All right? I read with love in my heart. I read with my ancestors in mind. I read with my spirit guides. I'm an ancestral worker. So nothing I do on this channel or my other channels is false. Everything that I do here is real, with true intention and true spiritual fortitude and strength. All right? Realness here. Nothing fake. No con artistry on this channel, on anything that I talk about. I just want to get that straight and put that out there because I'm not like other readers, and nobody should be like anybody else. But I might not be everybody's cup of tea, and I've realized that. I've been on this platform for a while on my other channel, and people come, but they don't stay. And it's a reason for that. I'm the Queen of Swords. I'm a air sign, so my delivery might not be what most people might like, but I'm always truthful to myself, right? To myself, so that I can be truthful to others. Walk in my truth always. If nothing else, I can walk in my truth. If I have nothing, I can have my truth. But the gardener is the idea that both of these energies are working towards is caring and tending for the spiritual soil, the spiritual self, the spiritual body, nurturing the self, planting those seeds, honoring those seeds, honoring the gifts, watering the soil, tilling the soil, you know, delighting in what's growing. Abundance is here. And caring for yourself, just first and foremost, without a relationship, just a relationship with you and yourself. There's abundance in that alone. There's something to till. There's something to harvest from just that. And so Spirit is saying that this is the first step. This is the first step. Sexuality, we don't have to go into that, but we talked a little bit about that with the feminine energy here, the sacred woman, loving yourself, loving your body, being intimate with yourself first, knowing what makes you happy, knowing what makes you smile, knowing what makes you feel. Same thing for the masculine energy, wanting to feel again, wanting true intimacy, wanting to come into a true sexual union, right? One without the games. All right, that's it for now. Until next time. Peace.